Life has a quiet way of pushing us to control outcomes, timing, and even how others respond. So we tighten our hold, plan more, and push ahead, believing constant effort will make life cooperate. Yet the more we force, the heavier we feel, mentally tired, emotionally unsettled, spiritually unclear. Here is the truth Buddhism points to, but is rarely explained simply. Life does not open to pressure, it opens to presence. As one teaching reminds us, when the mind lets go of control, the path begins to appear. Look at your own life, no belief needed. Where has effort turned into exhaustion instead of progress? Before we continue, your doorway to calm, clarity, and timeless Buddhist insight. Stay with me until the end, because the moment you stop chasing may be the moment everything finally begins moving toward you. 1. Stop tightening the inner fist. You are not tired because life is heavy. You are tired because you are tightening yourself against it. Before effort fails in the world, it fails inside the chest, inside the jaw, inside the breath. Why does effort feel heavy even before results disappear? Because forcing begins as tension in the sense of me, and life cannot flow through a clenched mind. I have watched many disciples confuse discipline with pressure. They believe pushing harder will bring peace faster. But notice this carefully. When you force, your body contracts, your breath shortens, and your thoughts become narrow. Suffering does not arrive later. It arrives the moment you grip. The Buddha did not teach passivity. He taught right effort, effort without self-violence. Force says, I must control outcomes. Wisdom says, I must align with causes. This is why the old teaching whispers, whatever is grasped too tightly cannot be received. Think of sand in your palm. The harder you squeeze, the faster it escapes. Life is no different. Love retreats from demand. Clarity dissolves under pressure. Peace avoids the clenched heart. Yet when the hand opens, sand rests naturally. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel your shoulders soften. Imagine opening your hand and letting the breath pass freely. Nothing was achieved, yet everything changed. Most of your exhaustion is not from doing too much. It is from resisting what already is. You push conversations to go your way. You force productivity when the mind is tired. You chase approval, certainty, control. And then you wonder why effort feels heavy before failure even arrives. Here is the quiet practice. When action feels strained, pause, not to quit, but to release identity. Ask yourself, who is forcing this? Usually it is fear wearing the mask of ambition, fear of falling behind, fear of being ordinary, fear of losing control. What would soften if you stopped pushing today? Where are you gripping instead of trusting? What are you afraid will happen if you relax? This is the turning point. Life does not respond to pressure. It responds to alignment. When effort comes from presence, it feels light, even when it is difficult. When effort comes from ego, it feels heavy, even when it succeeds. Do not abandon effort. Abandon tightness. Work, but keep the inner hand open. Move forward, but let breath, patience, and awareness lead. Remember this when you feel stuck. The river does not chase the ocean, yet it always arrives. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, I trust divine timing. 2. When striving becomes identity. You are not only doing the work, you have become the work. Notice this carefully. When striving becomes your identity, rest begins to feel like a crime. What happens when trying becomes who you are? Peace does not disappear because you failed. It disappears because rest feels undeserved. I have seen seekers who cannot sit still, even in silence. Their bodies pause, but the mind keeps pushing forward, counting, measuring, proving. Effort replaces being, action replaces presence, and slowly, without noticing, the heart forgets how to be at home. The Buddha warned against this hidden trap, not the trap of laziness, but the trap of self-definition through effort. When you build a self out of striving, you must keep striving to exist. This is why the old teaching says, a self built on effort forgets how to rest. Imagine a traveler who never sits down. They keep walking, not because the road is long, but because stopping feels unsafe. Eventually, they forget where they are going. Movement replaces meaning. Speed replaces direction. See yourself now beside a quiet path. You are sitting, not quitting. The road still exists, even when you are not walking it. Nothing collapses when you pause. Only the illusion that you must earn your worth begins to loosen. In modern life, striving wears noble clothes. Productivity, discipline, hustle. But when effort is driven by fear, it hardens the mind. You work to avoid stillness. You chase goals to avoid feeling empty. And the more you achieve, the more dangerous stopping feels. This is the suffering. You are exhausted, yet you cannot rest. You are successful, yet you feel unworthy of peace. The problem is not effort itself. The problem is forgetting who you are without effort. Ask yourself gently, who am I without constant effort? What part of me fears stopping? When did striving become my safety? Here is the practice. Do not abandon action. Separate action from identity. Let effort be something you do, not something you are. Work from clarity, not compulsion. When you act without turning effort into a self, something soft returns. Breath deepens. Awareness widens. Peace no longer needs permission. Remember this truth when you feel guilty for resting. You were never meant to prove your worth through exhaustion. 3. Right effort is not more effort. You are taught to believe that more effort fixes everything. Push harder, try longer, demand results. Yet quietly, effort becomes strain, and strain becomes suffering. Why did the Buddha praise effort yet warn against desire? Because effort that clings poisons the heart, even when it succeeds. Right effort is not force, it is movement without grasping. It acts fully, then releases. This is why effort feels heavy when anxiety is attached to outcome. You are not just rowing, you are fighting the river. I have watched people exhaust themselves doing the right actions with the wrong inner posture. They meditate to escape pain. They work to silence fear. They help others to feel worthy. Outwardly, effort looks noble. Inwardly, the heart is tense, bargaining with life. The Buddha spoke of effort that leaves no trace, not lazy, not indifferent, but clean. As the teaching reminds us, true effort leaves no residue in the heart. When action is complete, it is complete. No clinging, no replaying, no demand for reward. Imagine rowing a boat across a wide river. If you fight the current, your arms burn and your breath shortens. But when you row with awareness, stroke, release, stroke, release, the river begins to help you. Effort remains, but struggle dissolves. Now imagine resting the oar for a moment. Feel the river carry you. Nothing collapses when you pause. The water does not punish you for resting. Life moves even when control loosens. Most anxiety comes not from action, but from attachment to outcome. You act while secretly demanding certainty. You give effort while gripping expectation. This is why the mind never rests, even after success. Right effort asks a sharper question. Am I acting or controlling? Can I do my best without demanding reward? What would effort feel like without anxiety? Here is the practice. Before acting, soften the body. During action, stay present with breath and sensation. After action, let go completely. Do not measure yourself by results. Measure yourself by clarity. When effort is free of grasping, something subtle changes. Work becomes lighter. Failure teaches instead of wounds. Success passes without addiction. You move, yet you are not dragged by desire. This is the quiet power the world rarely teaches. Effort guided by wisdom does not exhaust you. It refines you. Remember this when striving tightens your chest. Move fully, but let the river finish the journey. 4. Detachment is not withdrawal. You believe detachment means stepping away, becoming cold, losing influence. This misunderstanding keeps many trapped in friction. If I let go, will I lose my power? This fear arises because you confuse attachment with control. But control is heavy, and power that depends on tension never lasts. Detachment is not withdrawal from life. It is withdrawal from resistance. When you cling, you argue with reality. When you detach, you stop fighting what already exists. This is why peace returns, not because life changes, but because friction ends. I have seen people hold tightly to relationships, identities, opinions, even pain. They say, "This matters to me." But what they mean is, "I am afraid to release it." Holding feels active, responsible, strong. Yet inside the body tightens, the mind narrows, and joy quietly leaks away. The Buddha taught that suffering is not caused by caring. It is caused by clinging. Caring flows, clinging grips. This is why the teaching says, when nothing is clung to, everything can move. Picture a door that will not open. You push harder, but it resists. You push again, frustrated, exhausted. Then you notice something is blocking it. When the space is cleared, the door opens easily. No force was needed, only space. This is detachment. Not pushing less, but removing what blocks movement. Not loving less, but loving without fear of loss. Not acting less, but acting without inner resistance. Picture a door gently swinging open. Notice there is no struggle, no tension in the hinge. Movement happens because nothing obstructs it. In daily life, attachment shows up subtly. You hold on to outcomes, you replay conversations, you cling to how things should feel. Each time, energy drains, not because life is hard, but because you refuse to step aside. Ask yourself honestly, what am I afraid to release? Is it control? Is it certainty? Is it an image of who I must be? How does holding on exhaust me? What might move if I stepped aside? Here is the practice of quiet power. Before reacting, pause. Before gripping, soften the breath. Say inwardly, let this move without me blocking it. Then act calmly, fully, without inner argument. When detachment becomes clear, something surprising happens. You become more effective, not less. Words land deeper. Decisions feel lighter. Action flows without friction. Power does not come from forcing life to obey. It comes from aligning so closely that resistance dissolves. Remember this when fear tells you to hold tighter. What moves freely does not need to be pushed. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I trust divine timing." 5. Life listens to your nervous system. You believe life responds to your words, your plans, your effort. But life listens deeper than language. It listens to your nervous system. Why do calm people attract clarity while anxious effort creates confusion? Because life mirrors the state you are constantly broadcasting. Before circumstances change, the body speaks. Your breath, posture, and tension send signals long before actions do. When the body is hurried, the mind narrows. When the body is calm, perception widens. This is not philosophy, it is lived reality. I have watched two people face the same problem. One tightens, rushes, demands answers. The other slows, breathes, listens. One multiplies obstacles, the other finds openings that were always there. The difference was not intelligence, it was inner weather. The Buddha understood this deeply. He taught that mind and body are not separate messengers. When the mind is agitated, it distorts what it touches. When the mind is settled, truth becomes visible. This is why the teaching reminds us. The world responds to your inner weather. Think of a lake at night. When the surface is restless, the moon shatters into fragments. When the lake is still, the moon appears whole and effortless. The moon did not change. Only the water did. Your life is the same lake. Opportunities, relationships, insight, they are already present. But tension breaks them into confusion. Calm allows them to reflect clearly. Feel your breath slow now. Let the shoulders drop. Imagine the surface of a quiet lake within you. Nothing is forced. Nothing is chased. Clarity arrives on its own. Most people believe calm comes after problems are solved. This belief keeps them trapped. Calm must come first. From calm, right decisions emerge naturally. From calm, words soften conflict. From calm, effort becomes precise instead of frantic. Notice what you signal when you live in tension. Urgency, fear, resistance. Life answers with delay, friction, and exhaustion. Now notice what calm signals: safety, patience, presence. Life answers with cooperation. Ask yourself honestly, what am I signaling through tension? How does calm change my decisions before I make them? Who might I become if peace led instead of pressure? Here is the practice of silent communication. When overwhelmed, regulate the body first. Slow the breath. Soften the jaw. Let the nervous system settle before acting. Then move, not urgently, but clearly. Over time, something remarkable happens. Life begins to meet you halfway. Problems untangle faster. People respond differently. You stop forcing outcomes and start receiving them. Remember this when effort feels invisible and doors feel closed. A still lake never chases the moon, yet it reflects it perfectly. 6. Demand blocks intelligence. You believe answers come from pushing harder, thinking louder, demanding certainty. But notice this: when you insist, the mind tightens and intelligence retreats. Why does insisting on answers delay clarity? Because insight does not respond to pressure, it responds to silence. I have seen minds that never stop asking, yet never truly listen. They argue with uncertainty. They chase conclusions. They fear not knowing more than being wrong. In this state, wisdom is present, but unheard. Demand blocks intelligence because it replaces curiosity with control. When you demand, you decide in advance what the answer should be. You stop seeing what is. The mind begins shouting orders instead of receiving signals. And guidance, which speaks softly, cannot compete with noise. The Buddha did not praise ignorance. He praised stillness of mind, a mind that waits without forcing, a mind that allows truth to arrive in its own time. This is why the teaching reminds us. Silence is where guidance speaks. Think of muddy water in a glass. If you shake it, the water stays cloudy. If you poke it, stir it, demand it to clear, nothing improves. But when you leave it alone, the mud settles naturally. Clarity was never missing. Stillness was. Your mind works the same way. When you obsess over decisions, replay conversations, or demand certainty, you stir the mud. Thought multiplies, anxiety thickens, Insight hides beneath agitation. Imagine cloudy water slowly clearing. Do nothing, just watch. Without effort, without interference, shapes begin to appear. This is not passivity. This is intelligence allowed to function. In modern life, demanding answers feels responsible. You are told to decide quickly, know everything, control outcomes. But forced clarity is fragile. It collapses under pressure because it was never fully seen. Ask yourself now, what answer am I demanding? Is it about a relationship, a career, a decision you fear delaying? What if I allowed time instead of force? Can clarity arrive without violence toward the mind? Here is the practice of receptive wisdom. When you feel urgency, pause. Name the urge to demand. Then step back one breath at a time. Let questions remain unanswered without panic. Let the body relax before the mind decides. From this space, something changes. Thought becomes precise instead of repetitive. Intuition sharpens. Choices feel simpler, not because they are easy, but because they are clear. You begin to notice signals you were too loud to hear before. Subtle insights, quiet warnings, gentle directions. This is the turning point. Control blinds wisdom. Silence reveals it. Remember this when the mind pressures you for immediate answers. Mud settles when water is still, and so does truth. 7. The moment you stop chasing. You have been taught that movement creates progress. Run faster, reach further, chase what matters. Yet notice this strange truth. Sometimes life moves only when you stop pulling it toward you. When does life finally move? Often at the exact moment you stop chasing. Chasing feels active, hopeful, responsible. But beneath it, there is tension. A quiet belief that what you need is not here yet. This belief turns effort into pursuit and turns desire into restlessness. And life, sensing desperation, resists being grabbed. I have seen people chase success, love, recognition, peace. They run with discipline and exhaustion, yet feel strangely behind. The more they chase, the further things seem to move. Not because life is cruel, but because control replaces cooperation. The Buddha understood this reversal. Life does not respond to pulling, it responds to alignment. This is why the teaching says, what follows you no longer needs to be chased. When you move from clarity instead of craving, life begins to walk beside you. Think of your shadow at noon. The faster you run, the more it disappears. But the moment you stop, it arrives quietly at your feet. You did not call it, you did not chase it. You simply stood still. Stand still now in your mind. Imagine sunlight resting on your shoulders. Notice the shadow appear on its own. Nothing was forced. Nothing was demanded. Most chasing is driven by fear. Fear of being left behind. Fear of missing out. Fear that stillness equals failure. But stillness, when conscious, becomes presence. And presence reorganizes life without effort. In modern life, slowing down feels dangerous. You are told speed equals relevance, but speed without direction creates exhaustion. Slowing down does not mean giving up. It means allowing life to meet you halfway. Ask yourself now, what am I running after? Is it approval, security, a version of myself I think I must become? What follows me naturally when I slow down? What if life is already near, waiting for me to stop running past it? Here is the practice of cooperation. Do the work that feels aligned, not frantic. Move with attention, not urgency. When anxiety pushes you forward, pause instead of accelerating. Let the body relax before the next step. From this place, effort changes its quality. You still act, but you are no longer hunting outcomes. Opportunities begin to appear without force. people respond differently. Timing improves without manipulation. This is the quiet turning point. Life stops resisting when you stop dragging it. What belongs to you begins to follow when you stop chasing. Remember this when you feel desperate to reach the future. Stand still long enough, and what is meant for you will find you. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I trust divine timing." 8. Allowing is advanced discipline. You think discipline means tightening, pushing, proving, but there is a deeper discipline that looks like stillness from the outside. Why does allowing feel so difficult? Because the ego equates stillness with failure and silence with loss of control. Allowing threatens the part of you that survives through effort. It asks you to trust what you cannot measure. It removes the familiar tension that says, "I am doing something." Without that tension, the ego feels exposed, so it rushes, plans, interferes, anything to avoid resting in uncertainty. I have seen practitioners who can sit for hours, yet cannot allow one moment of not knowing. They move constantly, not because action is needed, but because stillness feels unsafe. They call this discipline, but it is fear wearing a disciplined face. The Buddha spoke of strength that does not announce itself, strength that waits without collapsing, strength that allows conditions to ripen. This is why the teaching says, to allow is to trust intelligence beyond effort. Allowing is not weakness, it is refined restraint. Think of a seed beneath the soil. It does not rush upward. It does not dig itself out to check progress. It rests unseen, untouched, responding to timing it cannot control. And because it does not interfere, growth becomes inevitable. Picture a seed resting in the soil. Feel patience replacing urgency. Notice how nothing looks productive, yet everything is happening. In your life, allowing feels dangerous because results are invisible. You are taught to value only what can be seen, but most transformation happens quietly, beneath awareness. When you interfere too early, you disrupt what was forming naturally. Ask yourself, where do I confuse stillness with laziness? Is there an area where action has become avoidance? What might be growing unseen in me right now? Can I trust the process without constant interference? Here is the discipline of allowing. When nothing clear needs to be done, do nothing, consciously. Stay present instead of searching for tasks. Resist the urge to interfere out of anxiety. Let time and clarity meet on their own terms. This does not mean you stop acting forever. It means you act only when action is right. When movement comes from clarity, it feels effortless. When it comes from fear, it feels urgent. As allowing deepens, something shifts. Patience becomes stable. Decisions become simpler. You stop exhausting yourself proving progress. This is advanced discipline, the courage to wait without quitting, the strength to trust without forcing. Remember this when stillness feels uncomfortable. The seed does not rush, yet it never fails to grow. 9. Peace is the real magnet. You believe attraction comes from effort, strategy, visibility. But watch closely, life moves differently around peaceful people. Why does abundance arrive only after surrender? Because peace aligns you with timing that force can never access. Peace is not the reward at the end of struggle. It is the condition that allows things to arrive. When the mind stops chasing, it becomes receptive. When the heart stops demanding, it becomes magnetic. This is not mystical, it is precise. I have seen people run endlessly towards success, love, meaning. They collect movement, but not fulfillment. Then something shifts. They stop pushing, they stop proving. And suddenly, life begins to approach them instead. The Buddha understood this quiet reversal. Desire bends time against you. Peace aligns you with it. This is why the teaching says life moves toward those who are not chasing it, not because they are passive, but because they are present. Think of flowers in a field. They do not call the bees. They do not chase attention. They bloom fully, rooted, still. And because they are aligned with what they are, life comes to them naturally. Your life works the same way. When you are anxious, you broadcast lack. When you are peaceful, you broadcast wholeness. Life responds differently to each signal, not as punishment or reward, but as resonance. See yourself now, rooted, calm, present. No leaning forward into the future, no pulling from the past. Just here. Watch life approach gently. Notice how effort dissolves without progress stopping. Most people fear peace because it feels like giving up leverage. They think surrender means falling behind. But surrender does not mean stopping action. It means stopping inner conflict. And without conflict, energy becomes clean and focused. Ask yourself, what arrives when I stop seeking? Not what I chase, but what naturally comes. How does peace change my future decisions before I make them? What if I am already enough before the next achievement? Here is the practice of quiet attraction. Begin each action from a settled body. Let breath lead before thought. Do what is needed without urgency. Release the need to be ahead, admired, or certain. As peace deepens, something unmistakable happens. Opportunities feel timely instead of rushed. Relationships feel mutual instead of pursued. Effort feels supported instead of resisted. You stop running after life and life stops running from you. This is not coincidence, it is alignment. Peace does not make you invisible, it makes you undeniable, because what is whole does not need to chase completion. Remember this when desire pulls you forward again. Flowers do not seek bees, and yet the field is never empty. Trust is the final practice. You have let go of force. You have softened effort. You have learned to stop chasing, stop gripping, stop demanding. Now a deeper question appears. What remains after letting go? When control falls away, what is left to stand on? What remains is trust, and with trust, flow begins. Trust is not belief that everything will go your way. It is the absence of inner resistance when things do not. It is the quiet understanding that life does not need to be wrestled into meaning. When trust appears, struggle dissolves, not because problems vanish, but because opposition ends. I have watched seekers master discipline, silence desire, and release attachment, yet still suffer. Why? Because without trust, letting go feels like falling. The body relaxes, but the heart still braces. Flow cannot arrive where fear is guarding the gates. The Buddha pointed to surrender not as defeat, but as completion. Effort prepares the ground. Wisdom clears the weeds, but trust allows the rain to do its work. This is why the teaching says, when trust appears, struggle dissolves. Imagine a leaf resting on a river. It does not know the path ahead. It does not steer. It does not panic at bends or speed. It floats, not careless, but unresisting. The current carries it precisely where it needs to go. Feel yourself floating now, supported, guided. No tightening in the body, no argument with direction. Let the current carry you. Most people resist trust because they confuse it with irresponsibility. They think trusting means abandoning effort. But trust is what remains after effort has done its part. You still act, you still respond, but you stop bracing against outcomes. Without trust, even wisdom becomes tense. You meditate, but monitor results. You let go, but secretly watch for returns. This subtle resistance keeps the nervous system alert, guarded, incomplete. Ask yourself now, where can I trust more deeply? Is it with timing, with relationships, with the uncertainty of your path? What would change if you stopped resisting what is already unfolding? Are you ready to flow without demanding proof first? Here is the final practice. After doing what is right, release the rest. Do not rehearse outcomes. Do not tighten around hope or fear. Let life answer in its own language. As trust matures, something profound happens. You stop feeling carried against your will. You begin to feel carried with it. Effort becomes natural. Rest becomes honest. Presence becomes home. This is not giving up control. It is realizing you never truly had it. And in that realization, peace stabilizes. Remember this when fear whispers that you are doing nothing. The leaf does not swim, yet it never misses the river's path. 11. Life moves when you do not interfere. You keep reaching in to adjust life, correct it, hurry it along. You call this responsibility, but often it is fear disguised as involvement. What if life already knows the way? What if your constant interference is the very thing slowing it down? Non-interference is not neglect. It is intelligence that knows when to step aside. Life moves when you stop interrupting its rhythm. Not because you become passive, but because cooperation replaces control. I have watched people exhaust themselves, fixing what was never broken. They edit conversations that already ended. They force decisions before clarity arrives. They push growth before roots are strong. And then they wonder why nothing feels settled. The Buddha spoke quietly about this kind of wisdom, not doing less out of laziness, but doing less out of understanding. This is why the teaching says, do less, align more. When you align with what is already unfolding, effort becomes clear instead of frantic. Think of the sky. It never pushes clouds. It never controls their speed or shape, and yet movement happens naturally. Storms pass, clear space returns. The sky does not interfere, and because of that, nothing is stuck. Look up now, in your mind. See a wide sky. Feel how open it already is. Notice that nothing needs your help to move through it. Your life is that sky. Thoughts, emotions, events. These are clouds. When you chase them, resist them, or try to force them away, turbulence grows. When you let them pass, space stays intact. Most interference comes from impatience. You want certainty now, relief now, proof now, but wisdom respects timing. It knows when action brings clarity and when it only disturbs. Ask yourself gently, where am I interfering without need? Is there a problem I keep touching that only needs time? What feels natural right now without forcing? Can I step back with trust, even if the mind feels uneasy? This is the practice of non-interference. Before acting, ask, is this needed or am I anxious? If the body feels tight, wait. If the mind feels loud, pause. Let clarity come to you instead of pulling it forward. When you interfere less, patterns reveal themselves. People show you who they are. Situations resolve without control. Your energy stops leaking into resistance. This does not make you weak. It makes you precise. You act only when action belongs. You speak only when words help. And slowly, something meaningful becomes clear. Life has been moving all along. You were never meant to control it, only to cooperate. Remember this when you feel the urge to step in again. The sky does not manage the clouds, yet nothing is out of place. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, I trust divine timing. Bonus. Everything arrives when you stop reaching. You keep reaching for life as if it might slip away. You reach for answers, for reassurance, for signs that you're on the right path. Notice this gently. The more you reach, the more tense the body becomes. And tension is not how receiving works. Everything meaningful in life arrives when the grip loosens. Not when you stop caring, but when you stop grasping. This is the quiet truth many overlook. What is meant for you does not need to be chased. It recognizes you when you are open. You believe effort pulls life closer. Yet often effort mixed with fear pushes life further away. The heart tightens, the breath shortens, the mind leans into the future. In that leaning, presence is lost, and without presence, even blessings go unnoticed. This was pointed out again and again. Receiving is not an action, it is a state. When the mind releases urgency, space appears, and in that space, life has room to arrive. This is why the teaching says, what is meant for you arrives without strain. Think of night turning into dawn. No one pulls the sun over the horizon. No command is given. Darkness does not argue. Light arrives because conditions are ready, and it arrives every time. Sit quietly at sunrise in your mind. Do nothing. Watch light appear on its own. Notice how effort is absent, yet arrival is certain. Most reaching comes from distrust, a belief that if you stop pushing, nothing will happen. But look closely. How much of your tiredness comes from forcing timing, from demanding that life explain itself early, from pulling on doors not yet open? Ask yourself honestly, what if I stopped reaching today, not forever, just for this moment? What is already moving toward me without my interference? Can I welcome life as it comes, rather than as I demand? This is the final practice. Release the forward lean of the mind. Let the breath settle into the body. Allow the present moment to be enough, even for a moment. From here, act when action is clear. Rest when rest feels natural. Something subtle begins when you stop reaching. The nervous system softens. Choices become simpler. You notice support that was always there. Life feels less like a fight and more like a conversation. This does not mean you will get everything you want. It means you will stop missing what is already arriving. Opportunities appear without chasing. Connections deepen without pursuit. Peace becomes steady instead of conditional. In the end, flowing with life is not a technique. It is the release of unnecessary effort, a trust that you do not need to grab the future to meet it. Remember this when the urge to reach tightens your chest again. Dawn never rushes, yet it never fails to arrive. Quick summary of principles. Stop tightening the inner fist. Forcing starts in the mind before it shows in action. When effort is driven by fear, it creates inner resistance. Life cannot move freely through a tense self. Relaxation is not weakness. It is the doorway to flow. When striving becomes identity, trying too hard turns into a cage. When effort defines self-worth, rest begins to feel unsafe, even undeserved. Peace disappears not because life is wrong, but because identity is stuck in effort. Freedom starts when effort stops being who you are. Right effort is not more effort. It means action without attachment. It is not laziness, and it is not obsession. Effort should serve clarity, not control outcomes. True effort leaves the mind light, not drained. Detachment is not withdrawal. Letting go does not reduce strength. It removes inner friction. Detachment allows action without emotional struggle. When attachment falls away, intelligence flows naturally. You act fully without inner tension. Life responds to your inner state. Life answers more to calm than to ambition. A settled mind makes better decisions easily. Peace creates clarity. Clarity attracts opportunity. Your inner state quietly shapes your outer life. Demand blocks. Insisting on answers silences deeper wisdom. Clarity comes when urgency fades. The mind must quiet before insight appears. Patience is not delay. It is preparation. The moment you stop chasing, chasing creates distance from what you want. Releasing control restores natural timing. Life moves more smoothly when you stop pulling it ahead. Trust allows cooperation instead of struggle. Allowing is a higher discipline. Allowing is not passive. It requires deep inner strength. The ego fears stillness because it links movement with worth. Growth continues even when nothing seems to happen. Stillness often comes before the greatest shifts. Peace is the real magnet. Calm aligns you with what is meant for you. Peaceful people notice chances others miss. When inner conflict ends, life feels less resistant. Peace attracts without effort. Trust is the final practice. Trust replaces anxiety with steady confidence. It allows action without pressure. When trust is present, struggle fades. Flow begins where resistance ends. Life moves. When you do not interfere, over-control no longer blocks natural intelligence. Life often knows the way better than the anxious mind. Stepping back restores balance. Wisdom lives in cooperation, not domination. Everything arrives when you stop reaching. Receiving does not require strain. What aligns with you comes naturally. Reaching creates tension, allowing creates openness. Fulfillment begins with acceptance. Life was never asking you to try harder, it was asking you to become quieter. When effort softens into awareness, clarity rises on its own. When control dissolves, movement begins naturally. And when trust replaces urgency, life no longer feels like a battle. It becomes a dialogue. Sit quietly, doing nothing. Spring comes, and the grass grows by itself. Today, don't force change. Simply notice where you can release pressure, loosen expectations, and return to calm. That may be the most powerful action you take. Final reflection. Question: what if peace is not the reward for effort, but the starting point of a life that finally flows? If this message resonated with you, like and share this video. Share your thoughts in the comments for more inspiring Buddhist insights on living a peaceful, balanced life.